So welcome to the last of the little modules in prolongational analysis that we're looking at for the advanced theory students. If you've read the chapters, you should have at least a strong sense of what is required to do a middle ground analytic sketch. So this concept of the middle ground is really important for Schenker, and I've just scrolled down to the first of the worked examples that Ford and Gilbert give us. This and the stem and slur notation will be familiar, and I think having read these chapters, you should have a sense of how we arrive at that. Ford and Gilbert also have introduced this concept of the rhythmic reduction. That's not something that has any relevance or currency outside the boundaries of Fort and Gilbert's own textbook, from which I've been giving you these examples. So if I could just clarify that again, this stuff we have here, the middle ground, the notion of middle ground as a sort of reduction of the harmonic skeleton, this is a really important concept in analysis throughout the 20th century, starting with the ideas of Heinrich Schenker, and it's nowadays considered to be part of the broad harmonic understanding that every well-educated classical musician at an advanced level should understand. Whereas this notion of the rhythmic reduction is a very special thing that Ford and Gilbert come up with. So I'm not going to ask you to do these rhythmic reductions, but feel free, if working through their examples, if this helps you get to there, feel free to do it. Now, what I'd actually like you to do from chapter 7, we'll talk about chapter 8 in a second, is just have a crack at making a middle ground reduction of this Schubert impromptu, exercise 2. It shouldn't be too challenging given what I've already seen you do in the previous set of exercises, but I think why I've asked you to do this again in the context of this chapter is that the chapter has introduced you to some theoretical concepts, some constructions that we're not going to go much further with, but are really crucial to understanding where Schenkerian analysis is coming from. So you've already met the notion of the fundamental line, the fundamental descent from one of the degrees of the tonic triad, and so you'll know when approaching this piece of analysis that more than just reducing out the inessential and decorative harmonies, what you're trying to identify is some sort of structural descent. And it's fairly easy to see that at work here. I'm not going to give you any huge prizes for guessing which note is the most fundamental note of that structural line. Just in case you needed some revision, this is what I was referring to by the forms of fundamental structure. There is a huge philosophical literature about the notion of an entire work or entire movement being in essence an unfolding or prolongation of one of these fundamental structures. This is Schenker's theory, and it's certainly debatable. But when we get to small scale examples, such as the one that we're looking at, I don't think that there's too much debate about the notion of a sort of a decorated descending top line once you do the analysis. So have a crack at that one.